here on Koh Phangan in Thailand. It's an island, a beautiful place, and we're ready for another Q&A. Questions have been building up as usual.
So let's get to it. First question from Mango Oranges. How can I deal with classmates or family members who are strictly against veganism? And how can I avoid feeling so bad when seeing that they're eating meat and etc.? Well, I mean, you gotta be true to your own self, you gotta do what you believe in, but you also gotta respect other people, might have a different experience. You might see it as ignorance, and it might be ignorance, or it might be not, Maybe they got to that conclusion in some way that you can't really understand why they choose to eat meat. We just gotta respect people and be true to our own self. That's what I think. The way I deal with family members who are against veganism, not that I've really experienced many of my family members being against veganism, but I just don't consider their opinion. Essentially, I do my own thing because of what I believe in. I have my own reasons, and whatever other people think, I don't really care. So I suggest you just stay strong in your own opinion. Do your own thing. Respect that other people are doing their thing. And if you want to influence them, you can try and influence them by just being an example. And if they're truly interested and they're asking you, not at the table, not when you're eating, don't start talking about their meat when they're eating it. That's really disrespectful. If they're interested, they'll come to you and they'll ask questions. You can inform them, you can educate them. Maybe that would be good, but until they actually ask, I wouldn't recommend trying to change people.
And it's always better to be inclusive rather than exclusive. Just include everything.
That's true.
It's all cool.
It's all good. Like, yes, we all know why we're vegan, right? We don't like the idea of abusing animals, and we'd like to see everyone else go vegan too, but we can't force people. We cannot do that. A world where people are forcing their opinions on others is not a nice world. So let's be the example. Let's live by example. And as they say, be the change you want to see in the world. And then in the meantime, respect everyone else to make their own choices. And that's it.
Arnella Shariva asks if we believe that everyone on Earth would have enough fruit to eat if everybody on Earth went fruitarian. And honestly, I haven't done much research about this, but what I believe is that fruit has the most calories output per acre of land. So, if you plant potatoes, you're gonna get less food basically than if you plant bananas. And and even if you have meat growing on 1 acre, you're gonna have a lot less food for that acre of land.
The further you move away from our ideal climate, the tropics, going out into extreme locations like Norway and Europe in general, let's just open the possibility that there wasn't enough fruit. Well, then there's still going to be plenty of enough potatoes and roots and grains and that sort of thing. The point is, like, we could look at it in two ways. We could look at it, do we have to eat animal products? And the answer is definitely no. We can grow enough plant foods to feed the earth. Definitely plant foods are the most abundant, but even if we're just planted fruit, I think it should be possible.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe someone out there knows the numbers and can calculate it and let us know. Next up, Alva Baltimore asks, thank you for sharing your journey. What if you don't live in a tropical area and don't have access to tropical fruit? Do you recommend eating greens? And the second question, what fruits do you recommend if you live in an area with low quality fruits and vegetables? Well, the first question, greens, it's a difficult question. I'd say no, I don't think it's really, well, maybe, it all depends. Greens remain disgusting to me anyway. Even if I'm eating low quality fruit, I don't suddenly get a craving for greens. I'll get a craving for salad though, like a complex salad, because the fruit is so bad that what I'm looking for is something stimulating. But in terms of like greens themselves, nutritionally speaking, and just like eating greens straight up, I don't feel a sudden need to eat that just because I'm eating low quality fruit. Is it a good idea though? Probably. It might be a good idea actually. You know, if you're eating crappy fruits, it's a way to sort of get in some nutrients. Greens are very nutrient dense, so it's a way to sort of supplement your diet, I guess, with valuable minerals and that sort of thing. Is it truly necessary? Who knows?
But I would also get coconut water wherever you are. You know, the Thai imported coconuts, even though they're crap compared to fresh ones, might actually be a good source of a lot of minerals you won't get in. Well, you won't get as abundant of in fruits.
Yeah. And then in terms of what fruits you recommend living in an area with low quality fruits and vegetables, well, just go and find the best stuff you can find. Think seasonally. Don't buy stuff that's from way far away. Just try and buy it as local as possible, meaning, you know, if you're in the US, Costa Rica is pretty local, Thailand is pretty far away. You can see what I mean? But the closer it is to home, the more fresh it's going to be. So think about that. But the simple answer is just bananas. Just bananas. Eat lots of bananas. Make bananas like 50 to 60% of a caloric intake during the times when you cannot find any other fruit. Lots of bananas, that's the way to go.
And then obviously seasonal fruits like persimmons during winter. Maybe even oranges if you can get really sweet ones without them being sour, which is difficult. If you can get papayas, good. Yeah. Obviously melons and nectarines as well during summer.
Anything you can find that's delicious and satisfying will be good. But you know, bananas is a good staple.
Yeah. No Pro Go Pronto has a few questions. First asking, are green veggies or cooked corn part of your diet at all? It depends on where I am or where we are.
Most of the year we're pretty much fruitarian, you know, when we have access to great fruit, and there's no green veggies in our diet. Cooked corn, no. We sometimes eat raw sweet corn though. At other times though, when, you know, if we're in Norway in autumn or whatever, whenever the fruit is not enjoyable, because you can always be fruitarian if you want to. You can always eat raw if you truly want to, but the question is whether or not you really enjoy it. And I've had my fair share of you know, dried figs for dinner and cucumbers and carrot juice and that sort of thing, just to be able to stay raw. And at a certain point I realized I'm actually I'll much more enjoy making a small compromise in terms of my diet and eat some cooked food in those periods rather than just staying raw and eating dried figs for dinner. And it's a compromise on how I feel. I do not feel as well when I'm eating some cooked foods, but I find it's a price I'm willing to pay. So yes, cooked corn every now and then, sometimes. But if I am eating some cooked foods, I'd rather eat sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and more easily digestible things than corn. But I do eat corn sometimes. He or she also asked, do you eat chocolate candy bars? No, we don't eat chocolate candy bars. There's no need for candy when you're eating fruit, really. The want for sugar and the want for candy bars is just something that people eat when they're on a, you know, low carb, high fat diet, like most Americans, most Europeans, most of the world almost. No, not most of the world actually, but most of the Western world. They're so deprived of carbohydrates that a chocolate bar is all they can think of, you know, and that's the ultimate treat, you know. But you don't have when you're eating something that's a treat for every single meal, like with a fruit-based diet, you don't have a need for this kind of little special, you know, treat. No, every single meal is a treat when you're eating sweet, juicy, delicious fruits. So
it's like if you're eating a steak for dinner, you're gonna crave chocolate bars after an hour.
Hell yeah.
Because your body hasn't recognized that steak as food yet. It hasn't. Your blood sugar is still low. You need to eat, and well, that's what your body is saying anyway. And you're gonna want chocolate.
Yeah, that's why people eat dessert. And what else? Is there anything other than fruit in that you crave and allow yourself to indulge in? And this question sort of implies that we are on a strict diet. We eat only fruit. We never allow ourselves to indulge, but every now and then we indulge in something. And I understand the question because it's a valid question, but the truth is as I just said, I indulge in the best food I can find in every single meal. When I'm sitting down to a meal of mangoes here in Thailand, it is the ultimate indulgence,
Yeah.
and it's healthy. There's no contra indications to eating mangoes. There's nothing bad about it. So not only am I treating myself to the ultimate indulgence every time I sit down to eat, but I'm also treating my body to the healthiest and best food there is. So it's a win-win-win-winfinity situation, because I win, animals win, the earth wins. It's more sustainable, it's tasty, it's just all good.
Yeah, it's no doubt. I'm eating exactly what I want. There is absolutely no item on earth that if I wanted it, I would eat it. If I wanted McDonald's hamburgers, seriously, I'm a person who would eat that McDonald's hamburger, but I don't want it.
No.
I eat exactly what I want, and that happens to be the best thing for me.
And we're totally like, we eat what we want. We had a burrito when we were in Sydney. We had a burrito. Can you believe it? Didn't feel that great though. It was tasty, but it wasn't all that great. And even if it's really tasty, it's not nowhere near as tasty as fruit. So I eat predominantly fruit based on preference. It's a preference, and I think that's the most powerful piece of advice I can give anyone. Eat based on preference. Look at the results of what you're eating, how it feels, how it tastes, and ultimately choose the one that you enjoy the most. And overall, burritos, I don't enjoy them much at all. Sure, they're tasty food, but again, they're not as tasty as fruit. So most of the time, meaning 99.9% of the time, I'd rather sit down with a mango meal, a durian meal, a delicious papaya meal, than a sort of heavy to digest, halfway tasty, stimulating burrito.